Rain God Returns, Jaguar Tower, Episode 22. This last episode was about the jaguar fight and Chalk lies dying. Meanwhile, Jaguar Priest immediately began to plot the demolition of the so-called Skunk Tower. And soon he would replace it with a more impressive edifice made entirely of stone, dedicated to Jaguar God, the highest building for the highest god. But obviously this is just his building with 2 extra levels. So it's not that much imagination. And those of us who know will see this as a step pyramid, or the beginnings of a proto-step pyramid. And that's kind of what I imagine happened during this formative period of Mayan history, where people just took what they knew and they stacked a little bit on top, and then eventually came up with the things we see in the classical era. Back to this. He's thinking, rounded arches are stupid. We will make corbels only. And obviously they didn't know the word corbel. They just knew that the stacked arch worked better for them aesthetically. And maybe spiritually. Religiously. Meanwhile, at the boat ramp, Sakchen is saying, Moon Priest, do you think your canoe will make it over the rapids? Probably, but with that withered arm, it'll be difficult for you to steer. And Chalk says, bring Sakchen over here, boys. So somebody's in the river holding the canoe, and they bring Sakchen over. I'm nestled in nice and tight. Don't worry about me. Here, reach out your arm. Sakchen reaches out. He says, you should conserve your energy. With one fluid motion, Chalk wiped his hand over Sakchen's ripped cheek and withered arm. See? Whoosh, with little sparkles. Instantly, the jaguar claw marks on the boy's cheek sealed up neatly. And the twisted arm, mangled by a crocodile so many years ago, straightened out, bright and clean, strong and round, as if it had always been so. Now you're a bona fide river boat pilot. I don't know what to say. Just get in. We have a long way to go tonight. So Sakchen climbs into the canoe. Goodbye, everyone. Bye-bye. And everybody waves. With the strength of 5 men, he paddled furiously until sunset. Back down the river, the tiny canoe floated. Sakchen's new arm shined with its, if you remember, is sort of the chi of the Mayan world. And by nightfall, they encountered the rope stretched across the river, where only 13 days earlier he had hired the ferryman to take them upstream to Temple City. Sakchen tied Chalk down the best he could. Hold tight, Itzam. Beyond the rope was the roar of the waterfalls down that way. The falls were really just a series of slopes. Remember, they didn't even see them. They just saw them from above. So now they're encountering the falls for the first time. And they were really just a series of slopes littered with boulders that descended a long hill. But still dangerous. The light canoe easily flowed around the sharp rocks and floated over the treacherous logs submerged just below water level. And there's Sakchen paddling away with both of his strong arms. And there's Chalk in the back. As the stars began to emerge above the trees, Sakchen piloted the canoe safely past the falls village. No one had ever seen a canoe floating downstream. What the? Says one of the villagers. Who is that? Did he just float down the falls? Look at that. During the descent, Chalk had been jostled into unconsciousness. Hey, kid, come over here. And Sakchen says, I must hurry downstream. Itzam, are you all right? Itzam's Chalk is not responding. All night, Sakchen paddled deep into the swamp, following the river's now sluggish current. He did not know where the strength came from, but somehow he never felt fatigued. This was the singular trial of his young, already miraculous life. The blue dawn light began to filter through the swamp, and Sakchen smelled the smoke of his village. The elders were preparing their morning ritual fires. Fishermen would soon be leaving the village to start their day. And the ocean. Sakchen heard a hissing sound through the trees ahead. The hiss turned into a crash. See, look at that. There's a picture of Chalk and Sakchen floating down the river in the canoe. Warm, salty wind blew through the trees. Suddenly, they emerged from the forest twilight into the bright gray dawn. He paddled rapidly over the surf, barely skimming the frothy surface. Whew, right into the ocean. Chalk wakes up. Are we there? There they are, floating out there in the middle of this white ocean. Yes, it's morning of the 14th day. We are in the ocean. I'm ready to go. He looks up. Is that Hanaha in the sky? Right there. Yes, it's What should I do? Chalk says, roll the boat over. Sakchen says, but you won't float. It's all right. Just rock it like this. Chalk rocks the boat and splashes into the ocean. He sputters. Sakchen's gasping. And when he finally regains his senses, he looks around. Now what? And gasps. There's no response. It's I'm going to cover this last page. There he is. The bright, clear morning on the ocean, in the bright, clear morning with Hanaha in the sky, calling out for Kumix. But after treading water until he was exhausted, Sakchen dragged the canoe ashore. Resting by a tree, he saw a speck in the water. Who's that? Guess who? Am I dreaming? He says. Is it really you, Sakchen? This figure is saying, Sakchen. And Sakchen says, is it really Kumix? He's seen so much, he doesn't even know. No, I mean, oh boy, am I glad to see you. And Sakchen says, no, I mean, is it really you, It's me, and I have quite a tale to tell you. There's something different about you, Sakchen, as they hug. Oh, Kumix, he's sobbing. Did you get your arm fixed? Yes, it's See, look at that. And you have scars on your face. You must have a tale of your own to share. Yes, it's and a ritual too. So, that is the end of the story. There's a few more pages, but I'll be sharing those with you next week when we do the final few pages of this issue and the last pages of the story. I hope you return one more time.